Gauranga in Jagannath Puri. And I want to speak about the different explanation of when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to meet Radhani and the gopis we were mentioning last time. So I made a research many years ago with the intention to collect all these narrations from different books I found in Garga Samhita and in Gopal Champu, were very beautiful narrations of Uddhava visiting Vrindavan. So if you agree, we will go through these, and then it will help us to understand what is the real mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, or at least one of his mood. So it is very intense but very beautiful. What to do? Spiritual world is like this. Om Gyana Timirandasya Ganam Janam Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Garamayam Darati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanshakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatade Shatarine. So Prabhupada brought us this wonderful treasure of Chaitanya Charitamrita and of the holy name. We have to study it scrutinizingly. This is our duty. It's not a duty, it's the response of love. I remember Shivaram Maharaj once said that Prabhupada really gave us his love in the form of his book. That was really a present of love. So much sacrifice to write these books. He really gave us his heart. So the least response to that is to read them with our heart. This is the just respectful response to that. Otherwise, it means it's not very much considering the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us. If someone really goes through a lot of sacrifice to offer you something and you don't take, or you take what he's giving you but you put it on a shelf and that's it, then it's not very respectful. We have to understand. When someone gives us something very precious, we become indebted. And it's not good to be indebted without trying to repay. We may not be able, that's another thing, but we have to try. Um, Otherwise, just taking without giving back is a little bit callous. So Prabhupada gave us these books, we have to study them scrutinizingly. Nana Shastra Vicharanayaka Nipuno, Sadharma Stapako, Rupa and Sanatan and Raghunath and Jiva. They've wrote all these books, really studying scrutinizingly all the Shastras to really gather the most sublime nectar from the oceans of knowledge, the ocean of love. So we have also to study scrutinizingly what they gave us. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we stopped last time. Shishe Hirahila Prabhu Dvada Savatsara Krishna Yoga Sruti. Oya Nirantara. For 12 years, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was constantly feeling separation from Krishna. It's very important in our life that we understand this point. Love is what we're supposed to attain, what we're supposed to develop. It's the Paramapuma Artha, the ultimate goal of life. Prema Puma Artha. It's the ultimate goal of life, so it's what we're supposed to attain. As long as we don't attain pure love for Krishna, then we will have to wander here and there, but we won't be doing the right thing, because there is only one right thing, is to develop pure love for Krishna, and then everything becomes right. But without prema, the life is miserable, like Narottam Das Thakur would say. Prema dana vina daridra jivana. Without the fortune, the treasure of prema, life is just completely miserable. There is no value of anything else. So we're supposed to attain prema. And in order to attain prema, the path is that we have to feel separation from Krishna. Because we will progress only to the degree, the degree we can feel separation from Krishna. That's what Prabhupada explained to us. Sometimes few sentences, few lines of Srila Prabhupada may be more important than things that he repeated always and always and always. Because he said things very often, because the devotees there, they were new, and but he also said some very beautiful things that he couldn't repeat always because there was not so many people to hear about them. And who is talking about Krishna always considers the audience. He has to consider who he is talking to. But still Prabhupada wrote them because he knew in the future we will be there to listen to them. And one of these important things that Srila Prabhupada said, he said it quite many times though, but I have found that it's not enough highlighted. Prabhupada said that the degree of our spiritual advancement depends on the degree we're feeling separation from Krishna. So that means, this implies that our spiritual progress depends on the separation we feel from Krishna. And when we live in the material world, it's hard to feel separation from Krishna, because material world means we feel okay. We feel okay, I'm quite good, I'm not so bad. And yeah, going to manage. But we don't feel separation from Krishna. This is our problem, and we have to think about it. If we are not feeling separation from Krishna, that means we are not properly situated. Although we're practicing this path, we're missing some important point. We're missing even the essence, because this is the essence. So we're not progressing spiritually. We're practicing but not progressing because we're not practicing properly. We're not practicing with our full heart and with the proper mood. So we have to listen. What is the proper mood? The proper mood is develop separation from Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to show us that example, how much feeling of separation is needed. Because in the feeling of separation, love is nourished, love is nurtured, and it will thrive, it will grow, it will develop, it will become purer and more beautiful. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for 12 years, he manifested always all the symptoms of ecstasy in separation from Krishna. Krishna Viyog, constantly. Separation from Krishna would appear in his heart. So that's where we stopped last time. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains what kind of separation Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would feel. We have to stop and think a little bit about Mahaprabhu feeling the pain of separation from Krishna. We have to be sorry. We have to, to feel compassion for his sorrow. We have to feel the same thing. We have to understand the heart of Krishna. It's very important. So we know in Shikshastakam, Mahaprabhu says, Yoga etam nimeshena, chakshusha praveshaitam, shunya etam jagat sarva, govinda virahenami. Yugaitam nimeshena. Nimesha is this, the time it takes us to blink our eyes. Nimish. That's why the Bhagavatam is called the forest of Nimisharanya. Nimisha is the blink of an eye. I will not go into that explanation, otherwise it will be too long, but Nimisha is the blink of an eye, and Mahaprabhu says, Yugaitam Nimishina. The blink, the time that passes during the blink of an eye, which is for us, we could say, a fragment of a second. It's not a second, it's maybe a 12th of a second or 16th of a second. Very fast. This time seems to me to be a yuga. So yuga is a very long duration. The smallest yuga is the Kali Yuga, and it lasts 432,000 years. Then the Dwapara Yuga lasts the double, 864,000 years. It's nearly 1 million years. And the Treta Yuga lasts 1,200,000 something years, and Satya Yuga lasts 1,700,000 years, something like that. So the average time for Yuga, if we take all this in consideration, the average time will be something around 1 million years. But let's say, even if we take the smallest, 400 32,000 years. So Jesus Christ was 2,000 years ago. We call this antiquity, you know. That was the Greece and the Roman Empire, that's 2,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago was the Middle Ages. It seems to us like so far, that's only 1,000 years ago. So the duration of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years ago. It's 432 times, or let's say 215 times what separates us from Jesus and from the Greek and Roman Empire. It's gigantic. We cannot imagine. What Mahaprabhu says, the blink of an eye seems to me like 400,000 years or even 1 million years. That's a very, very, very intense feeling, this separation. Very, very intense. It's not a small thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not about small things. Srimad Bhagavatam is not a small book. The stories are not small stories. Krishna is not a small lover. Everything we meet in context with Krishna is coming in touch with the unlimited. So it's because Krishna is unlimited. So we have to understand the magnitude of the things, because then it makes the things deeper. If we don't understand the magnitude, then we will have a tendency to be too shallow in our approach. If we think Krishna has some little feelings and cries some little tears, like we do sometimes also, no, it's not like that. Krishna has some unlimited feelings, and we have to understand them, because this is the world of the spiritual world, where we say we want to go, is a world of unlimited feelings. So when we will ultimately, because ultimately everybody will reach the spiritual world, when we will ultimately attain that world, we will be cast into a world of unlimited feelings. Are we ready for that? Is this what we want? Unlimited feelings? Because if this is not what we want, there is little chance that we will attain it. One logical thing for the spiritual world, for attaining the spiritual world, is first one needs to have the desire to attain the spiritual world. If we don't have the desire, that means we still have the desire to stay in this material world. If we still have this desire, Krishna has to fulfill that desire, because that's the way he is. He will try to slowly deviate that desire toward a desire of a more beautiful reality of pure love. But as long as we don't desire to attain that pure love or that level of purity in love, then Krishna will not force us, because that's not how he is. He induces us, but he's not forcing us. He's helping us, but it has to come from our heart. So we have to develop the desire to attain such gigantic feelings of love, because that's what it is, and that's why it's there everywhere. When we read the Bhagavatam, when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, ultimately the Chaitanya Charitamrita is one of the greatest accounts of unlimited feelings of love. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yuga etam nimishena, chokshusha praveshaitam, and tears are falling from my eyes like torrents of rain pouring down. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would cry, it would make it would make, how to say, I don't know how to say in English, the whole floor would become covered with water. So these are a lot of tears, these are a lot of tears. And you know, when you're crying, it's very intense feeling, uh, squeezing the heart. It's a very intense experience. But it's beautiful if you cry for Krishna, if you cry for love, if you cry even out of separation from Krishna. This is a very sublime feeling. Otherwise, it would not happen. There is no suffering. It would not be logical from the part of Krishna to make his devotees cry, or to cry even himself, if this was real material torture. It's not. It's a very beautiful transformation of bliss and pure love that goes into that direction, that takes that shape of separation and shedding tears, but it's all about love. So it's nourishing the love. So the more the love increases, the more the happiness increases, the more the experience of bliss increases, no matter what is the cost for the love to increase. If this is separation, then separation is a source of the greatest bliss, because it results in experiencing a growing love, and love is bliss. Prema Ananda. Love is the highest bliss that exists. Pure love for Krishna is the ultimate happiness. Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam. The entire universe would look like empty to Mahaprabhu. He would feel that there is nothing in this world. Everything is empty. I don't care about anything. Everything that's surrounding me in the entire universe has no value for me. It's like a gigantic darkness. I have no interest for that because it's separating me from Krishna. All these are very beautiful feelings, and we chant them every day. We chant this verse every day, or at least I hope. If you're not, I invite you to chant it every day, because it said, whoever recites the Shikshastakam every day, it's not said the entire Shikshastakam, but whoever recites these prayers every day, could be one verse every day, his love for Krishna will increase day by day. So that's already a good game. If you're reciting the Shikshastakam every day, at least you can be sure that by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's blessing, and these blessings never fail, at least your love will grow, even if a little. It will grow day by day. That means it will not diminish, it will not dwindle. At least it will grow something. When the acharyas, they say benediction, blessing like this, it's not exaggeration, it's reality. Ma jane se kahe, ma jane ye kahe se satyamani. Mahaprabhu says, whatever the great souls say, consider this to be pure truth, because they never say something which is not true. And second reason is because whatever they say, Krishna will make sure that it will become true. So they are protected by these two sides, because then they themselves will never say something which is not true. This is their nature. They are satyam, sincere and truthful. Dharma projito koitaba, nirmat sarvo. Dharma projito koitaba, tra paramo, nirmat saramo. What is it? There is also Srinvatazvakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantastu Abhadrani Vidunuti Surit Satam. To the devotees who are truthful and sincere, Krishna will remove everything from their heart and he will appear in their heart. So the Vaishnava, they never say anything which is not true. Plus, if ever it would happen, if ever they would do a mistake or they would say a mistake, Krishna will make sure that whatever they have said will become true. So he would rectify the mistake to make sure that what they said, even if it was a mistake, Krishna will change the whole thing so that it was not a mistake. Anyway, so we have to believe this blessing, chant Shastakam every day. It's a great thing, but then it's not only about chanting it with our mouths, it's about understanding it and feeling it. Govindam Virahenami, I feel separation from you. Shikshastakam is the guideline for chanting the holy name. So Mahaprabhu is showing us that we have to chant with the mood of separation, with feeling of separation. So that's what Mahaprabhu is feeling in Jagannath Puri. And Krishnadas Kaviraj continued by saying, Shri Radhika Chista Yena Udavadarashane. Whatever was the state of mind of Radhani when she saw Uddhava. Emata Dasha Prabhu Oyaratri Dini. That state of mind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was absorbed in day and night. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind, day and night, was practically identical to Radhani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. So that's the state of mind here, Kaviraj Goswami. Right, Ratri Dini, day and night he was constantly in that state of mind that Radhani was droning in when Uddhava came to Vrindavan. So if we want to really understand what that means, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling, then we have to go to this. When Uddhava came to Vrindavan, what happened when Uddhava came to Vrindavan? So I'm going to read Garga Samhita. Another time I'm going to read Gopal Champu. But I started by Garga Samhita. The Garga Samhita said, when they saw Uddhava, the gopis, they saw Uddhava after he had already talked to Nanda and Yashoda and probably the house of Rajavasis. Aware that he was carrying a letter from Lord Krishna, the gopis brought Uddhava to a secluded banana tree forest to ask him with sweet and respectful words about the welfare of Krishna, the master of the devotees. I will read the previous verse because it's very beautiful also. At that moment, seeing Uddhava, splendid as a moon-sown cloud, his eyes lotus petals, his form like Krishna's form, more handsome than millions of Kamadevs, dressed in yellow garments, wearing a new Vaijayanti garland filled with bumblebees, holding in his hand a stick, a flute, and 1,000-petal lotus, wearing a crown and ornaments glorious as the rising sun, decorated with earrings and a great jewel, and gently laughing, the gopis became filled with wonder. O king, aware that this must be Sri Krishna's friend, they approached him. So Uddhava was extremely handsome, extremely handsome. like millions of Kamadev, lotus petals, eyes, lotus petal eyes, and he arrived. And then it is said, aware that he was carrying a letter from Lord Krishna. So we have to understand we are in a very solemn situation. They are all very, very sad. Krishna has left since many, many days. He said he will come back. He has not. He didn't come back yet. So they're waiting, and they day by day kind of like losing hope or seeing their hope becoming thinner and thinner, trying to not lose hope, but at the same time, every day passes, it's one day more that Krishna has not come back. So that's a reality that you cannot erase. And they in that feeling, they're very, very, very sad. So it's a very sad atmosphere. All Vrindavan is very sad. Uddhava came, and he's himself very moved from having spoken with Nanda and Yashoda and many others. And they are secluded. They are living apart, heartbroken. They don't know what the future will be. They don't know. They're trying to survive without Krishna, but they can't do anything else than just, how to say, think about him. So now he comes, such a beautiful person, and they understand. He looks so much like Krishna, and he was wearing Krishna's garments also, which they recognize. So he must be a great friend of Krishna. And they were aware that he was carrying a letter from Krishna. Somehow or other, I don't remember how they were aware. Maybe, they have a very good sense of intuition also in the spiritual world. They understand things also without being told. They can feel from a distance. They can feel also before things happen. Or maybe somebody gave them the news that there is also a letter for you. So the gopis, they brought Uddhava to secluded banana tree forest. They brought him there. Please come. We're going to a quiet place. So now here Uddhava comes. So when you arrive in a very quiet place, and that the situation is already very solemn. How do you say in English? It's very intense and grave, and so they're bringing him further to a very secluded banana tree forest, very quiet place, to ask him with sweet and respectful words about the welfare of Krishna. So very sweet and respectful, but they ask him, how is Krishna? What about him? King Vrishabhanu's daughter, Radha, who sought the entire universe, an empty void in Lord Krishna's absence, was there. So yes, in a banana tree, it's very dark. So she was there, very shady place. That's why it said, in a cooling monsoon cloud, banana leaf cottage. Because banana leaf, sometimes they're dark green, which can look like blue also. That's why they say monsoon cloud banana leaf cottage, and it was a cooling, very fresh and shady place. So why Radhani was there? Because she was burning by flames of separation. So the gopis, they brought her in that very shady place in order to keep her fresh, in order to bring down the flame of her separation. She was anointed with sandalwood paste, because sandalwood paste is also cooling. So they put some sandalwood paste on her limbs. And she was cooled by nectar, moonlight. So it was probably the night. That's what it says. There was moonlight falling upon her. So moonlight is also something refreshing. And mist from the Yamuna's graceful and restless waves. The waves of the Yamuna would create some mist, and the mist would come also to that banana tree forest. That's why they brought her there, because that's probably the coolest place they found in Raj. So they brought Radharani there because she was burning, but she was burned by flames of separation from Shri Krishna. So the gopis, one of their service is to preserve the life of Radha, because Radharani's love is so intense that sometimes she comes to the point where she's reaching some state that looks like a great suffering, or look like she's dying. And so their service is to protect her life, even though she cannot die. But they don't think she cannot die. They don't even know maybe she cannot die by the power of Yagamaya. They think, or I mean, even if you know, you're never sure, when you are on the point where you see the person you love the most is about to die, you're going to try to do something. And in Braj, one special aspect is that they have a love for Radharani. They love Radharani more than millions of their own lives, the gopis. So it's not a small love. The life of Radharani means unlimitedly more for them than their own life. So it's like, if something is wrong for her, this is really, really, really difficult for them. So on top of that, they are also feeling separation from Krishna. But aside from feeling separation from Krishna, also in an unlimited way also, even though maybe lesser than Radha, but they also have to feel sorry, and they feel the pain that Radharani is going through. So they have double feeling, very difficult. But still, in the midst of such a extremely confusing situation, they have to keep their service and not become bewildered, because their service is to keep Radharani alive. So they brought her on that banana leaf cottage in the banana tree forest, and she was burned by flames of separation. She was literally burning. It means her body became extremely, extremely hot, a very high fever, very, very high fever. Fever can be tolerated by the body up to a certain degrees, which is normally considered 43 degrees Celsius. Normally when you reach 43 degrees Celsius, I think, which is something like 100 degrees, a little bit more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If you go above this, then you cannot survive, the body dies. That's why normally 42 degrees Celsius, we consider this is very severe fever. If you have ever had, when you have malaria, you can reach 42. It's very high fever. But we're not talking about this material fever. It's not fever of the body. This is fever of the soul. Radharani's soul is feeling separation from Krishna, and it looks like a fever. It's not a material fever. She doesn't feel the pain like a material fever has. She feels separation from Krishna, and the symptoms of that separation looks like fever externally because her body becomes very, very hot. And when they put sandalwood paste upon her body, that paste um, turns into dries very fast and turns into dust, and then again falls off from her body. So this is intense separation. But what is magical in spiritual love is that this apparently intense experience of suffering is actually an unlimited bliss inside her heart. So they are not suffering, they're suffering from the separation of Krishna, but they're not physically suffering. There is no physical suffering. There is, their feeling is like suffering. So Radharani, she is like this. And only the hope that Sri Krishna would return kept her alive. So her life was just hanging to that little thread of Krishna's promise that when Krishna left, he said, "Don't be afraid, I will come back soon." So just by these few words, she was still remaining alive because she was thinking Krishna promised that he will come back, so he will come back. So I have to remain alive, because if he will come back and I left my body, then that will break his heart, and I don't want to break Krishna's heart. So I have to remain alive. So she was hanging, I don't know how we say, hanging on or hanging into life, like this, into this, hanging on these words to remain alive. Not for her sake. For her sake, she would just leave her body out of separation, but she remained alive for him. This is love. Radha was tormented in separation from Krishna, and she had now become slender as the new moon. So her body had become very slender. When he says he has the new moon, but new moon, there is no moon. When we say new moon, that means there is nothing. So I guess when he said there is new moon, he means the first crescent. On the day after the new moon, there is the first crescent that start to reappear again. The moon is extremely seen at that time. Or the day before the new moon is the same, but in a mirror way. Very seen crescent, that the thinnest crescent we can see of the moon. Because on the day of the moon, of the full moon, there is no moon. But because there are always overlapping, when we say it's the full moon, sometimes it's not exactly the full moon now, it was the full moon this morning, or will be this evening, and we can still see. So very thin, extremely thin crescent. Have you ever seen a very thin moon crescent? It's extraordinarily thin. What could we compare it to? It's like, in proportion, considering the length in comparison with the width, it's something which is thinner than matches. It looks like a leaf. It's not really like a leaf, not like a pepper leaf, because a pepper leaf has no thickness. But the moon crescent has a little sickness, like in the middle there is some little sickness, but extremely seen. If you want to know more what this image means, how Radhani was seen, you just look at the moon crescent in Google, because nowadays we can see everything. In one sense, it's nice when it comes to these things. So that means she had become extremely thin. But as we said the other time, when they do become like this, they don't lose their beauty. It's just a transformation of their beauty. So even because for us it looks impossible, we cannot think someone becoming thin like that, because the bones are already, thicker than this. So it's an impression. When he says that, it's an impression, it's an expression, an impression that he has, that she looks as skinny as a moon crescent, as the skinniest moon crescent. And it's also an expression to say that she has become skinny like a moon crescent. This is a Vedic expression. Doesn't mean she is as thin as a thread, because otherwise there's no more Radha, there is only a thread. But she looks extremely thin, more than whatever you can imagine. Still, even in that state, she doesn't lose a particle of beauty. She remains as beautiful as she is anytime. And it's even, in one sense, more beautiful, because this is a particular, very particular vision of her, very unique form that she manifests in this state. It's not pleasant to see, it's beautiful but unpleasant, because we don't want to see her in that situation. It feels painful, but it's beautiful, and we cannot say it's not beautiful. It must be also unlimitedly beautiful, and even could be more beautiful, because it has a very unique specificity. And when we say more, if we want to know more, we have to chant the holy name while meditating on this. What material intelligence cannot really grasp, the heart can feel and experience. By the mercy either of Krishna within our heart, Krishna can make us feel and experience things that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And the holy name also, the chanting of the holy name can make us understand at least some glimpse of these kinds of reality. So if we are meditating and chanting the holy name like this, willing to understand, praying the holy name, please let me understand, what is this form, what is this aspect? The holy name is merciful, and he will certainly grant us, provided we're not offending the holy names or the Vaishnavas. He will grant us understanding, or a glimpse or a shadow of that reality. But that was Radhani's state. I hope you can understand and you realize this is a very critical situation, but at the same time extremely sweet. Like when Uddhava saw her, his heart was broken in a certain way to see her in such a state. That's the first time he ever saw her. But at the same time, there is such an incredible sweetness emanating from that most beautiful person he had ever seen. She is still remaining the most beautiful girl that ever existed and that ever exists. And she's still shining also. So all these aspects are there. Taking the letter, placing it over her head, eyes, and heart, and remembering Krishna's lotus feet. Radha read the letter aloud. So she took the letter and she put the letter over her head, then she put the letter over her eyes, then she put the letter upon her heart. And she remembered Krishna's lotus feet. She remembered the sweetness and the beauty of Krishna. She could feel that letter is coming from him. So for her, that letter was not different from him. It was finally Krishna coming in the form of this letter. Of course, meanwhile, they had also received many letters from Krishna, but I guess all of them were extremely well received like this one. And then she read the letter aloud because her girlfriend were around. And Radhani never thinks about her. She always thinks about them all. She makes one with her girlfriend. They are one heart. The girlfriend of Radhani, they are like the petals, and she is like the whole of the lotus flower. She is like the center, the core of the flower, and all her girlfriends are each different petals surrounding her. So they make all together a unity. They don't go without each other. O King, as Uddhava watched, so now it's very sweet atmosphere, very Uddhava is based in the love of Radhani and the delicateness, the sweetness and the depth and the beauty of her love. Radha, overcome with love, shed many tears after reading the letter. She started to cry, cry and cry and cry and cry. She didn't say anything. She just read the letter aloud, and then as Uddhava was watching, she just started to shed many, many tears, many, many tears. What's the Sanskrit here? Ashru Samtatim, many, many tears. She started to shed many, many tears, and then finally she fainted unconscious. So she cried and then she fainted. Then silence again, and everybody's heart was now floating in the love of Radharani for Krishna. Anointed with kumkum, agu, sandal, and flower nectar, and fanned with chamaras, Radha regained consciousness. That means now her maidservant and girlfriend, they came and they anoint her with kumkum, with aguru, sandal, and flower nectar, which we don't know what it is, pushpalasai, with the nectar of flower, and they started to fan her with chamaras. Then Radhani finally, she regained consciousness. Seeing lotus-eyed Radha drowning in an ocean of despair by Lord Krishna's absence, Uddhava and the gopis now shed many tears. So now everybody started to cry because the love of Radhani was so sweet, so beautiful, that their hearts completely melted, and they also started to cry. Tears of love happens when the heart melts completely, and when the heart melts completely under the effect of unlimited emotions, then the heart melts and then it overflows through the eyes. So the tears are considered not different from the heart of someone. It's the heart that's overflowing through the eyes. So because they were taken into that other dimension of Radharani's love, very sweet and very frightening and very beautiful at the same time, very unthinkable, but they were all um, floating in the ocean of the sweetness of her love and the beauty of her love. And then they all started to shed many tears also. So now everybody is crying. Radhani regained consciousness, but she is still crying, and all her girlfriend also is crying, and Uddhava also is crying. O king, from the stream of their tears, Lake Lila Sarovar, filled with many lotus flowers, was created at that moment. So the Kund was created. They cried so much that all their tears, they joined together and they created a pond, which is called Lila Sarovar, and it's somewhere in Vraj. I would think it's near Nandagram, but sometimes the names here in Garga Samhita and the names that we have nowadays may not be the same name, but I think it's there. O king, a person who sees, drinks from, or bathes in that lake, or who listens to this story, becomes free from the bonds of karma and attains Lord Krishna. So we are fortunate that we heard about that story. That means we will attain Krishna. Then Sri Radha said, since that painful time when I was separated from him, every moment has become a kalpa. Without Krishna's feet, every night mocks the span of Brahma's life. So now she says not a yuga. Every moment doesn't look like a yuga. Every moment looks like a kalpa. And a kalpa is nothing in comparison. A kalpa is unlimitedly greater than a yuga. Because we've seen the longest yuga is 1,700,000 years, something like that. But a kalpa is 4,320,000,000 years, if I'm correct. So it's like another dimension. You know, when you go from million to billion, it's another dimension. That's what she's feeling. She said that every moment has become a kalpa. That means she feels that time is still, because she cannot feel anything else than separation from Krishna. So time is like frozen. Her feeling of separation freezes everything. Time doesn't move anymore, or if it does, it's impossible to perceive its move. Like it petrifies everything, her feelings of separation. There is nothing more than just that feeling, and she cannot see, think, understand anything else than this. Extremely sweet love, we have to understand. This is extremely sweet love, but Krishna is not there. So that sweet love is squeezed in such a way that it becomes even sweeter, but it's extremely um, heart crushing. They feel like their heart is being crushed or being um, turned to dust. This is what she said, what she is feeling. Will Krishna return? She asked. What does he do there? Please tell me. With a great struggle, I have held onto my life. That was the word. Onto my life. I have held onto my life breath. If you torture it with many lies, it will quickly escape. So now she asked Uddhava, please tell us what Krishna is doing there. Why he's not coming back? We've been waiting, holding onto our life breath to not die for him. So please tell us, but don't lie. Because if you lie, these lies will be like torture for us. We will understand these are lies because they understand everything. We will, if you try to lie to us, we will understand it without any difficulty, and this will be like a torture, and that torture will finish, will end up our life. It will make our life escape our body. We are holding on to that life that don't leave our body. We have to remain alive for Krishna. Their life, she said, her life is trying to escape her body, but she's holding on to her life breath to try to keep it into her body, into her heart, so that she doesn't die for Krishna. But she said, if you start now to lying to me about what Krishna is doing, then quickly that life breath or my life will escape. So don't lie, tell us the truth. When I first saw you, my feverish heart became cool. So now she feels much better actually when she sees Uddhava. Uddhava is like a cooling moon for her because he's bringing some news from Krishna. So that's a hope. They've been hoping without nothing, and now something is coming. And when you see something is coming, it's like for a sailor, you know, when you see a white dove, that means the earth is not far. So when the sailors, they've been sailing for months in the ocean and they don't know really where they go, like Columbus or some other great, I don't know great, but people who went into long expedition on the ocean that lasts for months, and they don't know where is the earth. They become lost. They don't know if they will one day see the earth or die before. And then all of a sudden they see a bird. And a bird means, because there is no bird in the midst of the ocean. Birds, they always have to be some distance at least from some earth, either an island or a continent. So that's the first sign a sailor will see. It's a bird, and it's often in the tails, it's a white dove. So it gives some hope that, oh, there is something that means Krishna is thinking about us. So that means there is possibility that we will see him again. When I first saw you, my feverish heart became cool. Now that you have come, I am happy. So now again she feels happy. I am happy as Sita was happy when Hanuman came to Lanka city. Finally, when Hanuman came, Sita was like so much relieved that she understood now Ram is not far. It's just about a little time and I will see him. It brought her back hope. It brought back hope in her heart. I have given up all hope. I have thrown away a host of illusions. Now that he has gone to Mathura, I do not believe his words. I do not think his letter as words of nectar, O Uddhava, O best of counselors. Please, bring him here. We don't care about what he says. He told us he will come back. We don't believe that. He told us. Now he's writing a letter supposed to be like words of nectar, but I don't think his letter has word of nectar because he's not here, he has gone. And as long as he doesn't come back, for me these words, they are not nectar, they are empty because he doesn't come back. So please, Uddhava, you are the best of counselor. Bring him here. That's the only thing you can do. Everything else is very kind, but that will not really change anything for us. So please, Uddhava, bring him back. And Shri Uddhava said, I'll go to Mathura city, because Uddhava was so moved and his heart was so much fell directly in love with Radhani. He never saw in his entire life such a love. You can respond to love only by love. And because the love of Radhani is total, he can see that he has to respond with a complete love also. And he said, okay, I'll give you my promise. I put my life on the table. I'll go to Mathura. I'll describe to him how you feel in his absence. I'll tell him everything what I have seen. I will offer him argham with the tears from my eyes. Argham is some water that we offer to someone when we meet someone. Generally we sprinkle auspicious water mixed with some kusha grass and some other things. It's very auspicious and respectful and a kind welcome. We said, I will offer him argham with the tears from my eyes. And then, oh, Radha, I will bring Krishna to you. Please don't lament. I place this promise at your feet. I will bring Krishna to you. And I will do everything I can to do that. I place this promise at your feet. When Uddhava says this, that means he cannot not do it after, because he knows we're speaking about life and death here. And he sees how her love is. He cannot betray that. So he will do it with the tears from his eyes. Convince Krishna with the tears from his eyes and bring him back here. That's Then Narada said, O king, happy to hear this, Sri Radha gave to Uddhava 2 Chandrakanta jewels. Means Chandra is the moon. 2 Chandrakanta jewels that moonlight had placed in the rasa dance arena. As some kind of reward, she gave him 2 probably very special jewels. Then she said to Uddhava, you will always have great wealth of transcendental knowledge, knowledge that enables you to meet Krishna. So then many things, and I'd like to finish because it's such a topic, it would be difficult not to conclude it. I want to see if something else happened. Then the gopis spoke to Uddhava also, happy to hear Shri Krishna's letter, and tears streaming down their faces and necks. That means really a lot of tears flowing down their faces, flowing down their necks. their breast and their entire body. The gopi then spoke. I will not relate to you the message of the gopi. It's there in Garga Samhita, because otherwise it will be too long. And we want to focus on Radhani's state of mind. But they were also crying. They are Kayavyuha of Sri Radha, so they are expansions of her feeling. So now you can understand better what is the situation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira, what's his heart, what he's experiencing. I think there is something more. Let me check. Thinking of Krishna in this way, the gopis became overwhelmed with love for Krishna. Yearning to meet him again, they wept, and then they fell unconscious to the ground. Then Radha took a pen and a jar of ink. As she thought of what to write, tears flowed from her eyes. Now all the gopis, they felt unconscious, and Radhani is thinking, I will write something back to Krishna. But tears were still flowing from her eyes. Whatever Radha wrote with her pen was at once washed away by the tears from her eyes. So she could not write, because whatever she would write would immediately, instantly become washed away by the flow of her tears. So she was struggling to write a letter, but crying too much. And Uddhava was there. Filled with wonder, Uddhava spoke to lotus-eyed Radha, who, yearning to see Krishna, shed streams of tears. Sri Uddhava said, O Radha, why must you write? Why must you be unhappy in this way? Even without you writing a letter, I will tell Krishna everything of your distress. So he said, that's okay. You don't need to write about your pain. I will do that for you. I gave you my promise, I will go there and I will relate everything in your name. And then Krishna, Uddhava went back to Mathura, and he met Krishna under the banyan tree. So that's what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami means when he says Shri Radhikara Chestayana Uddhava Darshani Hemata Dasha Prabhura Oya Ratridine. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind, day and night, was practically identical. Just like Yena. It's mean really like, we could say identical. The practically is, okay, Prabhupada wrote it, it must have some reason. Practically identical to Radhani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. So now you know what is this state of mind. And Mahaprabhu, what was in this state of mind? He was in the state of mind day and night that Radhani was in this banana tree forest, in this banana leaf cottage, submerged by separation from Krishna, drowning in her sweet love for him, in separation holding onto her life, completely in full despair, feeling that every second is like an entire day of drama, billions of years, shedding tears along with her friend. And that's what Uddhava saw, and that's what Mahaprabhu came to experience, because Krishna knows, and knowing that Radhani had to feel that when he left Vrindavan, the only way that Krishna could really repay that intensity of love was to embrace her heart and to also himself go through that experience of love, to also endure that level of love. Of course, that's a beautiful experience, but he had to do that in order to be true to her. So that's what he did as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now in the Gambhira, in Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu is feeling that same love. So that's how we have to see him when he is there in the Gambhira in separation from Radha. He's like internally in his heart, he is lying on that lotus petal bed in that banana leaf cottage by the shore of the Yamuna, in that condition, as seen as a moon crescent, the tiniest moon crescent, when Uddhava came. And then he feels a little bit happy to see Uddhava, but that makes a very sweet experience in his love, but cannot stop shedding these tears. So Krishna wanted to experience Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, Kidrisha Naiva. What kind of love Radhani she experiences? So that's one instance. But one verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see how much there is inside. It's very, very deep and beautiful pastime. But in order to understand really Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have to know the context. We have to know the stories that it refers to. So I let you with this amazing reality to meditate upon. Now you have heard this. This is something that you cannot forget for your entire life. I hope so. If you forget that, you're really not good devotees, because we should not forget very sad things, particularly when they happen to Radha and Krishna. We should always remember their torment and their pain, which is not pain, but we should always accompany them in that. That's what Swarup Damoda and Ramananda Roy in the Gambhira, they are accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the experience of that very sweet, special love in separation. Like Lalita and Vishaka, they are caring for Radhani in that banana leaf grove cottage in the shade and under the moonlight. So I hope this gives you some beautiful insight of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Jai. And this is what Srila Prabhupada gave us. We're just unpacking the matchless gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us. We have to unpack it because gifts are packed. Prabhupada's gift is also packed, and we have to unpack it to find out what is inside. You know, sometimes kids, very little toddlers, you give them a gift which is packed, and they don't understand that the gift is packed, and they feel wow, overjoyed just with the pack, and they start to play with the pack like a ball or whatever. You know, there is this ribbon. It looks nice, and beautiful paper, sometimes with stars or something like that, and they think this is the gift, but we have to be smarter and to open the gift because the real gift is inside the box. So we have to do that, and then we realize what is actually the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's matchless gift. So beautiful. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.